G'day guys, some tips about prospecting in the creeks of Melbourne and the gear that I take along with me. So I'll start off with my backpack. The front little pocket here, I'll put my keys and my wallet and keep them safe. The rest of the backpack I put my gear in. So one of the items I have is a metal pick. Doesn't have to be like this, can be whatever you got lying around at home. But a pick is good, just to pick away at some of the gravels. You can use it to pry out some rocks. I have a little mini jimmy bar, so that goes in. And that's also to get in there to pull apart a bit of bedrock. After that, I have 2 snuffer bottles for sucking up the gold. Why do I have 2? I've never lost one as yet, touch wood. I'll find something wood, maybe in my head. And that's one reason. The other reason is I often go to a couple of locations and I might suck up the gold with one snuffer bottle at one location, suck up the gold somewhere else in another creek and have a look at the gold later on. And sometimes when you get carried away test pan and you might think you've done better in one spot than another, the scales never lie at the end of the day and when you get to look at it. So keeping your gold separate is an advantage. A little scoop, and that's when you're crevicing, you just use this little scoop to grab your gravels. Some gloves. We're prospecting in Melbourne. There is tons of glass in the creek. It's fairly sharp and I have been cut quite a few times, but just some gloves. These ones are good. I like them. They're pretty waterproof, so they come in handy. A spoon that I've bent, and that's also for crevicing. I can put it at the bottom of the crevice and use the crevicing tool to scrape that stuff onto there. Crevicing tools. Alright, so I have this one here, which is just a piece of wire that's bent into shape. I have one of these crevicing tools, which are made by Matt's Crevicing Tools. That's also in the kit. I have this crevicing tool, which is a very thin crevicing tool, very long, you can get into some deep cracks and yank those gravels out in between bedrock. This is sort of like a crevicing tool, but it's also a scraping tool. It also acts as a pry bar, and it's off a cedar. You can imagine the cedars like that. It's been cut in half and rakes the ground. This thing is quite very strong, and I've used it to level rocks out. It comes in very handy. It was given to me by a couple of brothers about 5 years ago. So that always is in my kit. Besides that, that's all that's in my backpack. Obviously my keys are in the front pocket with the wallet, keeping all that stuff safe. I'll go to my screen. So my screen is the Minelab screen that I take along with me. This one just clips on like this, so I don't actually have to carry it. And the Minelab pan, that has a hole here, which is so that you can put your thumb on that hole when you're panning, and your riffles are always at the front. So that's what that little hole is, but it also allows me to clip on. That's it, I chuck it on my back and we're away. So obviously a pair of gum boots. If you've got this stuff lying around at home, grab it. A shovel. Alright, you want a shovel. This is a plumber's shovel, has a bit of an angle on it, bit of a scoop, also has a point. You can get plumbing shovels that are flat, and I've got them before and cut them into a pointy shape. The reason you want that pointy shape is you're going into fairly hard ground and you want to be able to get through in between those rocks. And that's pretty close to nearly everything, except for I'll bring a bottle of water and I have a little, it's only small, but it's a first aid kit. So it has a snake thing in there, has some other little bits and pieces, and I'll just clip that onto the bag as well and carry that in with me. I have a larger first aid kit obviously in the car, but this one's just nice and handy that you can take down to the creek. It's not very heavy, but seeing as it's warming up at this time of the year especially, snakes are about, so you want to have something with you. If you've got one, not necessarily an essential item, but it does help, and that's a bait pump. So, bait pump, yabby pump, come in handy. You can suck out straight off bedrock. When you've dug your hole, you can suck all the stuff out at the bottom. You will be able to get a little bit more gold and maybe some nicer bits that you haven't been able to shovel out or you've missed. So always good to have a bait pump. For the beginner, I'd say it's not that super essential item, but it does come in handy and you'll always have it and always use it. Now, don'ts, I suppose. I have seen so many people come down the creek with a spade. Alright, if I cut that even, it's still a spade, it's very flat, gravels are going to be falling out the outside. Plus, on top of that, it's got a wooden handle. The other shovel had a fiberglass handle. They're pretty strong. The advantage over the wood is it won't bow. You're putting this shovel in the water constantly. Dry, wet, they start curving, they start bowing. Spade, keep it for trimming your lawns, don't bring it to the creek. So they're your basic sort of items that you start with. Getting a pan set. Now you can get what I've got, like the Mine Lab pan set, or you can get a Garrett pan set. It's your preference at the end of the day. Or you can get whatever pan set you like. XP Cell one, there's a few other brands out there as well. So I like the blue. I see the gold the best in the blue. That's just my eyes. You might see gold better in green, you might see gold better in a black pan. There's pros and cons to everything. Now, from there, you can possibly get yourself something like this, which is a river sluice. It's fairly small, it's fairly compact. This one's only 6 inches wide, means that you can use this in low flow and capture some gold rather than sitting there panning. In saying that, if you're going to go to something like that, the Mine Lab screen is okay, but really, in theory, you want a different screen, something like this, which is 8 mesh, so that you can screen your gravels through there. Are we going to be pulling nuggets out of Melbourne larger than 8 mesh? Yes. How often are you going to pull them out? Very rarely. It's not something that you come across too often. Yeah, you're always going to leave some gold behind in the creek, no matter how good you are or no matter how good you think you are. The other thing is then if we're river sluicing, we'll have some type of a bucket. I like these Bunnings buckets because with this metal screen, it actually fits straight in and locks away. I can put this in the water, fill it up with gravels, use the handles to agitate and get those gravels to come through. The other thing, when I've got a river sluice, I will have a slightly larger scoop to feed it. With the Garrett set, and I'll just touch on that. So 20 litre Bunnings bucket. The Garrett screen fits a lot better, and it sits into the pan about 1.5 inches. So you can use that and obviously agitate it to get all the stuff through. Because the gravels are in water, it does clean off a little bit better. The Minelab one just sits that little bit too high. The other thing I do is when I've got this bucket and screen like this, I throw the Garrett pan on top and I screen down, get all the larger rocks through, throw them away, and then screen the stuff that's left in that screen if I need to. I'll just show you the Minelab pan, the Garrett pan. So this is the super sluice pan. Pans are your preference, you know, use whatever you like. So it has very large riffles. For creeks in Melbourne, you want the smaller riffles. Let's just put it that way. You want those smaller riffles because we're not getting this. You're going to chew through the gravels pretty fast, but you've got to be pretty careful as well with the gravels we have in Melbourne. And that's it. That's it for this video. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, chuck them in. If there's other gear that you use that you think might come in handy, welcome to throw them on. I'm going to leave it there. I have been trying to make this series for a little while, and every time I've gone to the creek, or the last 2 times I've gone to the creek, I've met up with new prospectors and I've just spent the day going through a few things with them rather than making videos. So this is the first one. This is the gear. Yep, you can get waders. There's lots of stuff you can buy. Is it going to help you find the gold? The only thing that's going to help you find the gold is you going out there and you testing these areas. Having $1 million pan and these waders and these boots and this and all this gear and all this fancy stuff doesn't mean that you're going to find the most gold. Your knowledge, your thinking is what's going to find you gold. In saying that as well, before you go out and buy anything, you've always got a mate that might have got into prospecting at some stage, doesn't do it anymore, fell out of love, and you might be able to get pans, you might be able to get some gear that they've bought cheap. Have a look around your house. Don't go out and buy, there's no prospecting shovel. There's no prospecting crevicing tools. There is, but you can make your own stuff. You've seen I had wire, I had spoons there bent. You can make your own gear. Have a look at home what you've got and what you can use. And then if you really, really need something, buy it. Don't buy something because this YouTuber said this and this bloke said that and this one uses this and look how much gold he's showing on Facebook and he's using this equipment. Forget about it. Forget about the equipment so much at this stage. Work out if you're really going to stick at this first. Work out if what you like. A lot of people will use the Garrett pan and that's what they've used, and they'll get the Minelab pan and they'll go, oh, I don't like this pan. They're used to their pan. You get used to whatever equipment you've got. You start working it out yourself and you build that with practice, how to use that equipment the best. So the next stage of this, as I said, will be we'll hit the creek, we'll have a look at some likely areas, and hopefully I'll be showing you some gold in the next series. So thanks for coming, thanks for staying if you stayed this long and watching, and hopefully we're showing you some gold on the next outing. Till the next time, see you all later.